Right, so Frozen Mushrooms was one of the decks on my top 5 decks that got good upgrades or were created from Cosmic Creations. And really, the kind of standout cards of this archetype game that I think really helped push it up a level in terms of being competitive was Ballistic Bot. This card kind of does a little bit of everything this deck is looking to do. The ignition that it creates every turn gives you a consistent source of cheap spells to play, which is very important in conjunction with our Starlight Seer and our Puffcat Peddler here. Puffcat Peddler helping us plant lots of mushrooms along the way against your opponent. It also dealing 1 damage every turn, including turns when we don't have the attack token, is notably good with Sajani here because she levels when she's seen you deal damage to the enemy nexus in 5 different rounds. So being able to use Ignition to damage your opponent on their attack tokens is very valuable for getting Sajani leveled up very quickly. And then once Sajani's leveled, we can use those ignitions or the puff caps we've been loading up into our opponent's deck to trigger Sajani to wipe the attack off everything our opponent has every single turn. So yeah, that's really, really wonderful. We have Teemo at the bottom end of our curve here that helps us plant some puff caps. Another card that we gained from the most recent card drop that's reasonable is Hexcore Foundry here. So this is bad against aggro, but it's really good against mid-range and control decks because once you've planted a bunch of puff caps in their deck, Hexcore Foundry helps ensure that they're going to draw them quickly to end the game that way. So let's go ahead and dive on into some games of this. It felt very good last time we played it. Interested to see if we can have another reasonable showing here today. Great. Looks like They Who Endure, Kalista. Honestly, I think we're full mulliganing here, looking for our Teemos or our cheap spell cards, Starlight Seer or Puffcat Peddler, etc. Maybe Troll Chance worth keeping, so it's an okay anti-aggro card. This hand's honestly great. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, curving right on out the door. 5, 6, 7, 8, try and get your mushroom straight. We did play a gauntlet this morning. I made some mistakes and we ended up going 5 wins. They're pretty reasonable sets of games though. I feel like I learned something even if I had some slops that caused me to lose. The Zoe Lux deck continues to be a delight to play. I'm going to go ahead and Mystic Shot this right now. This kills it before they can play Kalista to see it die, or before they can hold up a Glimpse. Also, kills it before they can deploy a Bark Beast and have that see it die. Rats. Well, we tried. Good chance they open and hit us for 7 here, and then we can play this after to gain some life back, so not too terrible. They play Kalista before attacks, we get to play this, and then threaten to block. Not in too bad of a spot here. Gonna have plenty of reasonable blockers and a way to buffer our life total back up. Teemo's still planting some mushrooms along the way. Read.
What will you have?
Easy round end here. Teemo must be a Magic player complaining about his collection as he dies. Ooh, that's good. That's funny. All right, chump one, chump one, chump one. Wow, that's a good RNG. This could actually kill us, chat. We do this to save our Dorko. Yeah, Kalista and Dur on the other side. This is, we really want to draw Sejani sometime soon. So that way we can have her rolled up to start frostbiting, but I also haven't dealt a ton of damage to my opponent, which isn't great for us. I think I just go ahead and open attacks here. It gets a guaranteed damage in for the turn, which is nice. Also kills her thing before their Kalista can come down. Is it crazy to get this going so that way I can have a better chance to find Sejani? I feel like it's not. Could be wrong though. Their hand isn't nearly empty. In fact, my hand's kind of empty and running on gas, and they're going to be able to spend mana endlessly on Evershade Stalkers. Shenanigans. Welcome to Hooklandia. We get into plenty of shenanigans here. Alright, that's not a Sejani, but it's good. A few other people recommended Red Dead Redemption 2. I've got probably 2.5 to 3 months worth of games backlogged at this point, but I'm taking notes on what other things I would like to poke at after that. So I get to Harsh Winds these two, eat the Kalista. Sejani was a better draw than this. I was hoping to draw Sejani. Sejani would have let me develop my board while also fogging them. Yeah, I think at this point, Precipic, for game submissions, I'm only going to be accepting story-driven narrative stuff for non-card games. And if my queue happens to run out, I'm just going to find one that I'm interested in playing and put it in. Alright, so Never Not Dead to Atrocity. Yes, Jacob. You can play that game, but remember, if you get stuck, you can't get mad, okay? You gotta be a good winner and a good loser.
Rebels.
Okay, you can play it. I think we play this out before we level Teemo and smack them. Yeah, old man, you'll see plenty of kid cameos here. My kids are remote learning currently. Or resume remote learning tomorrow, I guess I should say.
An auspicious season.
I think we've died, chat.
This would be a good winter.
I have three children. I have a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 7-month-old. Combat Skirt, thanks for the follow. Welcome. They could technically still draw all of their pup caps. That's true. They could technically draw 12 pup caps and 2 cards here. Actually, was I supposed to aftershock them in case we high rolled 9 mushrooms? I think I was supposed to actually aftershock them there. Oh my gosh! Why are we so lucky? Man, remember the big brain player that decided to play this Hexcore Foundry? Who remembers when the big brain streamer played the Hexcore Foundry so we could draw Frostbites? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Yeah, we got Dub's Aftershock too here.
An auspicious season.
This game is really easy. It is. Just draw the cards you need. So we go Aftershock, Ignition, put mushrooms in your deck. Is the plan here, and then hope they die. We might even be able to beat Atrocity next turn if we kill them, right? Oh, I technically should have done this first, so that way in case they played Stalking Shadows. Wow, they hit a Stalking Shadows card without mushrooms. Never lucky. Alright, sometimes lucky. So the goal here is to give ourselves the best possible chance to beat Atrocity. So playing burn spells does that. Yeah, I've heard good things about that series too, Putty. So I think those would be fine. Like I said, I have a little bit of a backlog right now, but those would be fine ones to get added.
This would be a good winter.
Healing is cheating, chat.
There you are.
Healing is cheating. Read. All right, 31 puff cap, 22 cards. Not out of the question that they could die on draws here. What's up? Okay, buddy, it's 8. Okay, you got to turn the music off when you come in here. Okay, it'll give you, pull that one up and it'll make you invincible.
I know.
Okay, and then you just gotta practice, buddy. If you're still stuck after I'm done working, I will help you, okay? All right, so I think we shared spoils because we could find Sajani off of this, technically.
An auspicious.
Or a Pesky Spectre. We could definitely find a Pesky Spectre. Am I supposed to put 10 mushrooms in there? I think I'm just supposed to burn them, right? And just hope we don't get atrocity'd. Oh yeah, definitely not playing Pesky.
Snow and stars.
So,
What does you want from me?
That's what the ladies tell me too, Harlequin, that I'm gonna massive chump lump. We had some good draws there. We had a little bit of unfortunate breaks on them hitting mushrooms, but we were very fortunate to find our harsh winds when we did too. So hard to be too upset. Jacob, I need you to go into the living room. Maybe mommy can help you with that one to run through it. Okay? She might have a chance. She usually has a lull in work about this time. Maybe ask her. Or Declan. Declan's played that level before too.
Mom, maybe Calico threatens me.
Well, you just gotta practice, buddy. If you practice, you'll get better. All right, so Garen, Asol, Hexcore Foundry is great here because they're kind of a slow long deck. I'm gonna mulligan these two, looking for Aftershocks. Definitely keeping Teemo on one. No, Nintendo Switch. Okay, we are a Switch family. We have 2 of them. I use one for streaming on occasion. Some of the variety stuff we've done has been on the Switch. Oh, and a big jump up in viewers. Someone must have signed off and dropped us an auto host. Welcome to anybody coming over from another channel. We're hanging out playing some Legends of Runeterra. Riot's League of Legends based digital card game. It's a lot of fun. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I also have an intro video here, if you're not familiar. What is he playing? He's currently playing Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker. I think we're just getting our Spells Matter card set up here. It could also be right to... This play could be setting up a single combat or a sharp sight for next turn. That's a great draw. I'm gonna open on bot here and see what they do. Yeah, Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker is a good puzzle game. It's a good co-op puzzle game. I actually played through it in its entirety with my younger son, and Jacob's working his way through it, and I help him sometimes when I'm not streaming. Honestly, I think I'm just taking the pass here. Feels like a Hush or Sharp Sight turn. I'll just take the pass so we can play Peddler into Ignition here.
Oh, if mushrooms could talk.
I'll have what he's having.
Get to start leveling Sajani here. Get to start triggering both of these. This is exactly the type of setup we want. And then once we've got some pup caps in their deck, we'll drop the Hexcore Foundry and start killing them with it. Oh, I imported this deck and it copied my loadout from the last one. We should change to the Freljord board or the Christmas board after this set. Definitely just using our life total as a resource here. I think we just banked the spell mana. There could be merit to firing this off and killing the scout here. Hey, look, there's a single combat. Expected last turn. Deck codes, they do not, but Runeterra copies over your, when you import a deck, it copies over a loadout from one of your other recent things to your new deck that you've imported. So like the last deck I was playing had this board, so it copied it over. Okay, hopefully Troll Chant means we'll be able to save whatever they do next turn. I think I'm attacking into Hush at this point. They already used the single combat. I think I'm holding on to this to save one of these two next turn, which are worth to play in my opinion. Well, if you're new, you're probably new to the channel if you're asking that question. Before I started streaming Runeterra full-time in October, I streamed Magic the Gathering as my full-time job here on Twitch, was almost all of the content that I made. And I changed over to making Runeterra content from Magic because I think Runeterra is a much better game. I think Runeterra's core rules engine is the best core card game rules engine I've ever played with. I enjoy it a lot. Anybody? Yeah, most people in this chat are going to give you a rightfully biased opinion because they're here because they like this game. I think Runeterra is the newest of all of those games, and the fact that it's the newest means that it's been able to learn from the design failings that those other games have made in the past. I guess that also can give some validation too. Yeah, like I've spent 4 figures worth of money on Hearthstone and Magic the Gathering. I also downtraded my income to stream Runeterra versus Magic because this game's not quite as popular yet, in large part because it's newer. But I also expect Runeterra to grow because, like I said, I think the core that it has here is just the best of anything I've ever touched. I like it a lot. All right, so we've got a small amount of mushrooms in their deck here, almost to that 1-to-1 ratio. I think I'm just playing this out as well. Yeah, Runeterra is going to grow naturally just as they add more stuff to it. You know, honestly, I think I'm just going to thermo beam them here. Is that right? Or do I save the beam for later? There's appeal to getting this in now, and like Hexacore Foundry is going to start drawing me a bunch of cards, so there's merit to just like using my cards ASAP. I agree with that, TK Matt. I think too many people put too much weight into just raw metrics on Twitch. This is card for card the list that Santa played, yeah. Sick. That's a great draw because it like triggers all of these and it draws me a unit and still leaves me mana to Harsh Winds. I'm new player in Runeterra. Is Teemo and Zoe deck good, or is Sajani Teemo the better to me? I think if you're looking explicitly to play a Teemo deck, this is the better Teemo deck. That's great. Constant enabler for the rest of our friends here. I think Teemo Zoe is like a fine elusive aggro deck, but I think in terms of just elusive aggro, I definitely prefer Zoe Fizz. So like if you want elusive aggro, I'd recommend playing Zoe Fizz. If you want a Teemo deck, I'd recommend playing this one. And now we're at the point where we're over 1 damage per card drawn on average at this point, 1.5 even. So like they're just taking 3 damage a turn passively drawing cards. They are going to get to murder one of my things here with this, but it is what it is. Seppi Coco, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. I tried a Feel the Elusive deck recently. I don't think we've played it since the most recent patch drop. We'd played a bit of that archetype before the most recent patch happened, but not since. I'm just gonna click OK and take this damage. This is a good deck if you're a giving person. That's true. Our deck does hand out lots of presents. Speaking of presents, Mama's home. Without spending money. Yeah, Runeterra is easily the most free-to-play competitive game out there. If you're interested in a how to get started video, I'd recommend checking out this. I have a 12-minute video here that explains how to learn the basics of the game, as well as how to start building a collection. Runeterra largely is trying to monetize via cosmetics, and the core game components are very cheap. Honestly, do I just take this pass here? Is it crazy to just take this pass? This says overwhelm and this says vulnerable. What punishes this attack? Anything? Does anything punish this attack? Yeah, that's a lot of damage. Even Hush doesn't really punish the attack. Hush would punish me if I attacked with everything else. Potentially. Yeah, I agree. I think second hex core is where we're at in our life at this point. The fact that this deck that we're playing gets to stuff greedy control decks in a box is easily the most satisfying thing about it. Yeah, they're just super dead, right?
Witness perfection,
Meat bags. Witness perfection, meat bags. We've planted some puff caps.
there they go.
Mushroom, have 3.
Ooh, quite a collection. Another day in the field.
Yeah, I agree. I think we just dome them. Triggers these two. Like.
Blessed by snow and stars. Safety disengaged.
Man, they are really good at dodging puff caps. Oh my gosh, that hit them. How did that connect? Listen, I wasn't expecting that to happen. What would win, chat? One cosmic space dragon or this mushroom boy?
This will be a good winter.
I don't have Teemo emotes on this loadout. I need to change my board to Teemo emotes. All right, 91 puff cap, 17 cards. Draw 2.
An auspicious season.
90. Sorry, 90 puff caps. Miscounted. 5 and 5 and 3 is 8. Hey, Quiet Fifth. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Have a cosmic space dragon. And a puff cap. Have 3. They got a pretty animation on the way out the door.
Along the way.
The mushrooms we planted along the way. This explains why we lost the first game though. Forgot to update my loadout. These emotes are essential, chat. They are essential to being able to win the cat 2 probably. Our opponent did have a lot of card advantage. Any current goals that I have as a streamer right now? Nothing that I'm looking to accomplish in the long-term set me up. A lot of your growth and stuff that you have as a streamer happens via metrics that are outside of your control. So my only real goal in the short term is that I've got that subscriber count underneath me. Just looking to try and keep that above the 1,500 concurrents. Which we are healthfully doing thanks to very generous sub-gifties. I think I'll keep Elixir here to protect Teemo. I think Tavern Keeper sounds great against discard aggro. Aftershock's a little slow.
Nothing like the great outdoors. Think they can see me?
Where can you find some deck inspiration for the game? I would highly encourage you to check out my how to Runeterra video here, if you have to ask that question. That video isn't a how to play video. It shows you where you can go to learn the basics of the game, but then also walks you through how to find deck lists, how to build those deck lists with either with money or by free to playing. Shows you places to go to find them. It's a really great resource for that kind of stuff. I'm saving Teemo with an elixir here. Oh, this might have been a Spirit Blossom one. Yeah, he's got the little pink flower on his hat. Chat's a good place to ask too for specifics. Like if you see an opponent playing something and you're not sure what their archetype was, you'd like to find a copy of it. Chat's great for helping with that, but just generic kind of meta stuff. The videos are good. They're probably the best starting place. Wow, they took that tree. That surprises me. This is a yikes. Yeah, Spirit Blossom was similar to the KDA event. It was a battle pass style thing, but it didn't include a custom card set. So there weren't 5 new cards in it like we had with KDA. Yeah, the Draven trade there likely implies second Draven. I agree with that assessment. Night Owl, thanks for the follow. Good afternoon. As visions of spinning axes dance in my head. I think we're dead, champ.
Put on me mask, secure me tail, start the day. Is he here yet? Oh man.
Yeah, I'm excited for what Friday could be. People can correct me if I'm wrong, but the Friday thing from the League of Legends perspective is they're open to their competitive year, right?
I love the smell of mushrooms in the morning.
Is what that is? As someone that doesn't follow League stuff.
Swiftly.
Okay, so it could just be cards or a battle pass, but it could maybe be announcing some type of Runeterra competitive stuff as well. They have a tournament mode. I wouldn't be afraid if they're not surprised to use it. All right, so we'll aftershock this, and we'll hope to draw Harsh Winds next turn or a Mystic Shot to maybe survive, but not looking good for the hero here for sure.
Watch and learn.
And if it helps.
As they open to their Pro League circuit with the tournament in NA and the beginning of ranked play in League actually mattering and exiting the preseason. And sweet.
Oh, shucks.
AKA Kits, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. If Runeterra had special rewards for League of Legends players, that I give it a shot? Nah, probably not. I'm pretty content with my gaming diet currently. Plenty of Runeterra with a little bit of story-driven stuff. APM-based competitive games are kind of outside the realm of things that I'm interested in these days. Turn-based stuff for me, please. Turn-based stuff, or if it's gonna be APM-based, I want to be playing against a computer, not another person. Thanks to Johnny's too slow to start here. They're almost assuredly an aggressively slanted deck, so I'm gonna mulligan the Hexcore Foundry. Trying to find an aftershock to kill Plaza also has appeal here. Also, as an old man approaching 30, my hands get really sore if I play like Overwatch or another APM based game on the keyboard and mouse for like more than an hour, whereas like playing games on the controller, the gamepad's a lot easier on your hands. Controllers tend to be designed with ergonomics in mind more often.
Have a mushroom. Have 3.
It was funny. I told Deck that I was getting old because my birthday was coming up, and he goes, "Dad, should we buy a new house with only 1 floor so you don't have to walk on stairs?" And I was like, "God, you kill me, kid." Maybe I should have waited to play this to see if they had Plaza this turn. I could have like opened on attacks and then aftershocked this. I don't think he knew he was being savage. Do I have, or have I looked into an ergonomic mouse? Yeah, I looked into a vertical mouse at one point that's supposed to be more ergonomic. It's supposed to be more ergonomic, but it actually hurt my hand more, which was awkward. In regards to your Witcher 3 playthrough, I have a Switch and an Xbox One. Which console would... Definitely the Xbox Titan clock, unless you explicitly want to be able to play Witcher on the go sometimes on the handheld. The frame rate and graphics are both lower on the Switch compared to the more powerful hardware. The PS4 and the Xbox One are more powerful hardware than the what's it called? The Switch. So, fun story. My mouse is a Logitech MX510. I think it's old enough to drive. It's possibly old enough to vote. Getting there at this point. At some point, this mouse will stop working, and then I'll be forced to try and find a new one of some sort. But for the time being, I'm quite happy with my mouse. It's lasted me a long time. This mouse has logged, 4 or 5 digits worth of hours on Guild Wars and Counter-Strike and all sorts of other things that are great. I think I'm just passing here. Like, they're just burning so much mana. So I recently picked up Runeterra again after stopping right after the first Call of the Mountain set. I was comfortably able to craft the entire Luxoy Plaza deck with shards, less wild cards. That's awesome, BSQR. And honestly, like, so card games are what I frequently refer to, and it's just with the industry. Yeah, my mouse has a wire. What I would refer to as a lifestyle game, in that card games allow you to spend as much time as you basically want to on them. They're an endless game style, and it's very easy with any kind of card game to have kind of a toxic relationship with them where it's all consuming and it's all you do. And one of the reasons why I really love Runeterra is because the economy is so accessible. If you need to take a break and step away for real life reasons, it doesn't feel like you were punished for not logging in to do your dailies, basically.
This would be a good winter.
When I get a Senna here to block and kill the Hecker Imp, yeah, maybe that was better. I don't know. I kind of wanted to just make a bunch of Buff Cat Peddlers. I think I'm passing here, and I'm going to Troll Chant plus Mystic Shot. So, like, I get to do this, and if I Troll Chant, I save both of these, then Mystic Shot kills this.
An auspicious season.
They were good games overall. I had some slops, but I learned. I don't think I played well in all of them. Okay, and now because I waited on the Mystic Shot, I get to go ahead and elixir this to keep it alive, and then I can Mystic Shot to kill this next turn.
Good winter.
Real life or just other games, like the way the economy isn't punishing means that you can have a healthy balanced relationship with it if you want to. And I think that, you know, games like Hearthstone and Arena, where they're so expensive to play, it becomes much more difficult to have that healthy relationship with them. I think this deck's super reasonable, McGregor. And this latest patch made it pretty great. Wow, that's good for us. So I don't think I want a Hexport Foundry quite yet. Oh, I haven't dealt damage to them. All right, never mind. I was gonna say I want to do this, but I don't want to attack into these either, so. So mushrooms here will hopefully trigger shared spoils. Perfect, that's a great draw as well. Oh, that's terrifying. That's not usually a card this archetype plays. That's very good here. Am I dead? I think I might be dead. So Hecarim's gonna level here. I guess the rest of these don't have Overwhelm, so with the Gain 3 we might be okay here.
My gun does the talking.
Let's see if they order their Hecarim correctly. They need to order Hecarim last.
Let's talk about your cat. Would a mushroom help? Fly away while you can. I'm a peddler, not a meddler.
Okay, so I go to 2 and they get a rally. But I get priority after this attack, so I get to play Pesky Spectre as a blocker. Yeah, we're not dead to what they have.
I'll bring them peace.
Is it better to hop between bonus regions for Ass's XP, or should you try and flesh out regions if your goal is to get a larger card pool? If your goal is just raw cards, you should definitely play bounce between regions. Aren't we dead? How are we dead? This doesn't have overwhelm. Yeah, I had 2 blockers because the Hecarim died, which lost attack on these things down at the end. So the two things at the very end were only 2-point attackers. Oh yeah, he can also only hit once. That's really funny. Ephemeral Lucid technically does a double attack. That's great. Yeah, I guess we just open attacks, right?
No.
We actually have a pretty good shot here, huh?
I've always been a fun guy.
They've got 34 buff caps, and we're gonna hit them for 1, and then we'll get to Thermo Beam something too, and put some more caps in their deck. They're drawing 2 cards next turn. So we're gonna need a little bit of a high roll, but not much. We're averaging a little over 1 per draw. We have, yes. So this puts them to 3, and 3, actually 3 is right about average here, right? No, they should die when they draw. Yes, it is quick attack followed by a normal attack is exactly correct. And I'm just doing this because I want the most puff caps in their deck. Also, if they don't kill us on open attacks, Ignition gets to do another point as well. We can also draw Mystic Shots to help kill them, so I feel like we're in a good spot here. Bye, friend. If you haven't seen this deck in action this expansion, it means you probably missed my top 5 decks with Cosmic Creations. You'll want to be sure to check out that video for this deck and 4 others I highlight that I think are all great, sweet choices that use cards on the latest expansion. Am I a fan of board games? It's hard to tell with my little camera, but this entire shelf behind me here is all board games. In the before times, my wife and I frequently had friends over to play lots of board games. We play some with our children now, but they can't quite play all of them. I think we're full mulliganing here, looking for Aftershock to kill their Plaza. If you're looking for some of my favorites, there's a tweet here that has some of my favorites in it. Poker face, poker face, do. We've been playing games with the kids pretty consistently these days. Couple times a week. We have a small selection of ones that they can play too.
Push back the darkness.
Yeah, this deck has a ton of play to it. You're not just a one-trick pony where you need Sejani or you die. It's really hard to pick just one. If you give me game categories, I could pick like my favorite 6-player game, or my favorite card game, or my favorite party game. But I can't just pick one objectively over everything else.
I've always got your back.
Don't worry
Worker
about it.
placement. Probably Happy Pigs. I really like Happy Pigs. Evan Bick, thank you for the 11 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Any recommendations for 2-player games? Yeah, Sagrada. Two-player games are kind of hard to come by. Everdell's up there too. I full mulliganed Watermelonite. So I did not keep any of these. I full mulliganed looking for Aftershock, and I was rewarded with a bunch of Sejanis. So Sagrada would be my recommendation for a reasonable 2-player game. If you're looking for something to play with a friend or a significant other. It is a dice drafting game that plays very well with 2 people. I'm not a huge fan of deck builders in general. I think if you asked me to pick my favorite deck builder, I would tell you Clank. but like Clank probably doesn't. I don't even think Clank was in my board game photo. It's also the people that we would play board games with in the before times was largely for fun, more casual, and like me being a card game player, playing deck building games with muggles tends to not be fair in terms of balance. Because like if you have a lot of experience playing games like Magic and Runeterra, you're just gonna operate, you understand the mechanics kind of differently in those games coming from it. Referring to non-gamers as muggles worked better when Magic was the primary game I was playing, but it works reasonable in Runeterra too.
Prepared for anything. Armed and ready.
I think if this hits, we're shared spoils in here, hoping to find like another Kindly Tavern Keeper to pump up our life total. You see the improvement in Runeterra's player base has seemed more popular than it was a few months ago. To give you a purely anecdotal metric, I stopped streaming Magic the Gathering to do Runeterra full-time in October, and October, November, December of last year was the first time I gained more followers in a month than I lost since I started streaming Runeterra. And I think that part of that is definitely the new expansion released, and we had the seasonal tournament that Riot asked me to cast as well. So yeah, the player base is going to grow as Runeterra matures as a game.
Does death follow you, or peace?
Afternoon, Quintius.
Do not fear death.
Wow. Oh, they're gonna get a... No, they're not gonna get a rally? If this is their play for the turn, that's real good for us. We've been doing frozen mushrooms for about 50 minutes. Although, honestly, if we stay above 600 people, I might just run super late today and do another one after this, too. I like to capitalize while the viewer count's high. And y'all are great. There's plenty of decks in the queue. Do I want open attacks here? I kind of don't hate opening attacks with 2 more Sejannis in my hand. I agree that the most recent expansion is the best Runeterra card drop since I started playing. Not close.
So many years, so much.
So... Well, that's terrifying. Huh?
We see through all.
Yeah, definitely, Lacarp. I don't have that one built yet, so if we play another deck today, that one won't be in, but that should put it into tomorrow's stream comfortably.
Enough stalling!
Silence. Death comes.
Let's talk about your cat.
So wait, if I Sage Fury here, this'll die, right? Because it'll be a 5. I guess Sharp Sight and single combat make this less appealing, but the chance to kill Lucian here is a lot of upside.
An auspicious season.
I still have third Sejani in hand. I will say the handful of people who have Shillion are already use their shillings to bump things more aggressively. And I think this is fine.
Too damn soon.
If we're really lucky, they're gonna hit one of these mushrooms next turn, and then Mystic Shot can wipe all the attack off their stuff. Although I guess if they don't open attacks, I can Ignition and then Mystic Shot to wipe their attack. I feel like we're in a good spot regardless here. Even if I have to jump block like I have this to jump block, sick. At level Sejani.
The Winter's Claw endures.
That was a challenger unit on their part, Claire. I wasn't blocking, they were forcing me to block. Yeah, saving the spell mana is valuable. This deck loves its spell mana. The 1 point is far less important than having the spell mana, I think.
Leave no survivors.
So, leveled Sejani says the first time they take Nexus damage, she frostbites all their stuff. So if I Mystic Shot their Nexus, it wipes the attack off of these. So just get some free eats here. Okay, they earned themselves a rally there, that's fine. They can't go too wide here, because they have 2 plazas in play. I guess is Hecarim lethal? Maybe I should have left Fury of the North up because of Hecarim. Okay, leveled Sejani is very strong. For sure.
Join me if you want to live.
I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't expecting all 3 Sejanis to do stuff this game, but they have. Will do. I hold on to these for now, because if I draw one of our Spells Matters cards, I want to use these to enable it. Jade Cavi, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Just like we drew it up, chat.
Little fella asking for me.
Nailed it.
Sentinels of light don't fear the dark.
Bow to no one.
Whip it good. Inmundo, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel.
Attack.
Hit with our Overwhelm here. If this overwhelms, this gets its attack wipe off, so it doesn't hurt this.
Sentinels.
So, not a ton of puff gaps in their deck, but enough here. Needs to put them up to 20 and 25 cards. So, pretty unlikely to kill them here, but I do at least have Aftershock. Well, I guess Aftershock can't wipe the attack off of things, can it? If they draw a mushroom through. Maybe it's wrong to put the mushrooms in? Oh, they didn't draw one for the turn, sure. Yeah, alright, deal. Because if they play something here, I can Aftershock to wipe the attack off it. We have Beam now too, though.
We burn, then kindle anew.
Ice, baby. Do. Nice ice, baby. Yeah, Ballistic Bot really felt like it was the missing tool that this deck was wanting. Because it just provides you that steady flow of spells to play with your Starlit Seer and your Puffcat Peddler. Alright, so we have them dead to open attacks. That's assuming they don't die to pup caps.
Born for conquest.
Yeah, getting consistent levels. Sajani is also very, very good. Big agree. Big
We survive.
It is election day in GA already. Yeah, here's hoping. If you're in Georgia, please save us from the GOP tomorrow. Thank you. And if you're in Georgia and you've already cast an early ballot, God bless. Oh. For those that don't keep up on U.S. politics or outside the country or whatever, there is a runoff election in Georgia tomorrow that will determine control of the Senate. For the next 2 years. Misfortune Quinn. Definitely not a Hexacore Foundry matchup. Sajani early doesn't sound good. Honestly, I think I'm only getting one of the Teemos too.
Porting in.
These are all great. These two are great pickups here against their aggressive deck.
Armed and ready.
Getting in a hit right away. Getting Teemo early is key here, not only for putting pup caps in their deck, but also like getting Sajani leveling ASAP. That's very nice. Very nice.
Stand on cold shots.
Shark. It's a neat one. I don't think I've seen that one in their archetype before. Valor's a rude dude, but I have backup Teemo, so it's like not really a big deal. You find this deck to be more RNG slanted during the pivotal level to Sajani board turns. Really, Moonboats? A lot of the time, your, what's the word I'm searching for? A lot of the time, your opponents, like, already played stuff onto the board, and you're happy just frostbiting everything they already have.
Swiftly.
Thoughts on Trump's recent phone call? Just another of the many stains that his presidency will leave behind on the United States of America. If his presidency doesn't make it abundantly clear that the system of checks and balances in the United States is fundamentally broken or perhaps just non-existent, I don't think anything will.
Have three.
I've heard about you.
So the play here is Troll Chant like this, and then we'll Thermo Beam this post-combat before their second attack. Although I guess they can still kill Teemo that way. Oh no, this levels him, so they can't. Sick.
Blessed by snow and stars.
Success is plenty.
Really fantastical start for us here. Fred Boy, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Nice. Start with this, because it's burst and we triggered Plunder already.
An auspicious season.
Add a girl, Sajani. Add a girl.
Adventure starts with mushrooms.
Adventure starts with mushrooms.
Fortune favors the bold. The ocean is no place for the weak.
What are sources you like to follow to stay up to date on political information? For as much of that stuff as possible, you want to go direct to the source, which is why, like, when there's actual audio released of, like, Trump talking, like, stuff like that is so valuable. Like, being able to just, like, go straight to the horse's mouth and just be like, yeah, this is what actually was said and happened, like. We're just passing for now, waiting to see if they deploy another larger threat that I want to Sajani.
Always forward. Mwah.
Yeah, I mean, the system that was created at the United States government national level just was never intended to work in a setting where an entire political party in the Senate was willing to shield a criminal who has been elected president.
What will you have?
So, like, the basis of the system of checks and balances is based around the fact that, like, the Senate and the Congress will check a party acting in bad faith, and that's just not what we're experiencing at the moment. It's not what reality is. Alright, so Teemo's gonna die. I get to go Peddler into Sejanni next turn. Wonder if they'll kill Ballistic Bot. I elected not to play Sejanni this turn, because I think if I wait to play her out, they might leave Ballistic Bot alone. Although probably not now. I imagine these three are dying. Yeah, and I mean, like, I don't know that they were wrong there. Like, you can't possibly have hundreds of people complicit in the same crimes, right?
Protect and strike.
I don't know. I really hope that, like, if the Democrats get control of the Senate in the GA runoff, that at a minimum, what the United States desperately needs is they need all of those political norms that I've heard so much about growing up codified into law. Like, the president running for president and being required to disclose your tax returns. That should be a law. That should not be a rule of thumb.
Love ya.
That should not just be a courtesy that we expect people to do. Honestly, we should probably have senators and Congress people share tax returns as well.
There was a little fella asking for me.
If you are running for national government, you should probably be required to disclose where you've gotten money from so people can make informed decisions about electing you or not. I'll say enough for a bit. Longer stream. Legs are starting to cramp. Opinions on whether they should impeach again. I think it's pointless. I think he's lost the election, and impeachment doesn't have an impact on a non-sitting president, right?
Fight for your lives.
I don't know about all elected officials. Like, if you're running for, like, the local school board or whatever, I don't need to see how much you make at your corporate job. But, like, I think expecting, like, national elected officials to share tax returns, I think is reasonable.
The Witcher's Claw triumphs.
And if I'm being honest, I'd like to see Nancy Pelosi's tax returns almost as much as I'd like to see Trump's. Like, I'm not going to give you a shitty both sides whataboutism and say that, like, Nancy Pelosi is comparable to Donald Trump, but, like, I would like to know where her money came from. That's a good thing. That would be a good thing to know. Lisa and Zoe, do I quality of life concede? I almost want a quality of life concede. Sejanni locking them is a way. I feel like this deck can have an okay matchup here, though, is the problem. I'm gonna play it out. I'm gonna play it against my own gut. His hand's great.
Prepared for anything. Look at this reality. Look how sparkly.
I think I just pass here with Troll Shreds in hand. I don't know for this trade. What was the combo kill that they have? If you give Lee Sin Overwhelm and you get his power to 10 with Dragon's Rage, he just kills you in one hit.
Oh, if mushrooms could talk.
I'll have what he's having.
What has Nancy done that I disliked? Well, I don't know that Nancy Pelosi has explicitly done a specific thing that I dislike, but Nancy Pelosi's net worth is a lot of money, and she only makes $170,000 per year as a member of Congress. So I would like to know why she is worth so much money, where that other money came from. So it's not that she's done something politically in terms of passing legislation or not that I have a problem with, so much as that I would like to know all of those details. Is it real estate in her case? I would like it to be easily transparent and referenceable. And if it's honestly something as innocent as real estate, then sharing it shouldn't be a big deal. Because, you know, I'm actually a reasonable, fair, and balanced individual, right? I don't want her tax returns for nefarious purposes. I just want to be informed. And I don't think it's unreasonable for me to want to be informed as a voter for the people that I'm supporting or not supporting. It's all about transparency. It's not about wanting to get one over or disliking a particular politician. I just want to be able to make informed decisions. At the end of the day, that's what every reasonable person should want, I think. Second Zoe is super brutal. Guess we kill this.
Some help? Crystal.
I mean, to be fair though, Moon Boots, you could argue that she should have impeached earlier, and I think you would be correct. But at the same time, impeachment ultimately really didn't do anything. Like, it's nice to say that the stain that's in the White House finally got impeached, and like he deserved to be impeached. But like at the end of the day, what actually happened didn't amount to much. So like, I can't, from a practical standpoint, I can't say that I'm really that upset with her. You support an age cap on elected officials? Yeah, I think so. I think we have a minimum age. We have a minimum age for people to serve in the government. I think a maximum age would also be reasonable. People who are about to leave a restaurant shouldn't order the food for the people that are coming in after them. And at a certain point, you're just, on average, not committed enough to looking forward and passing laws, I don't think. And that obviously doesn't apply to everyone, but I think people who are going to live longer and experience the repercussions of those laws and decisions are more likely to make ones that are better for people. We're just playing Sajani here. I guess they just gem her and they get to hit anyways. I think I'm just playing some spells and putting some mushrooms in their deck, huh? Getting this leveled. When I think about term limits, I think term limits are a fine idea, but I think realistically, term limits should be much longer than what a lot of people would expect them to be. Like, I think a reasonable setup for term limits for congressional people, for example, should be at least a decade, if not more. Because there is value to having consistently the same people that understand how the core functions work. If you're replacing all of Congress every 2 to 4 years, that's going to hinder things in a different way than they're hindered now. The actual answer is you don't need term limits so much as you need lobbyist reforming and taking the money out of politics. That's the bigger thing that needs to happen more than anything. I think I'm blocking and troll chanting here. I just want to play spells to put mushrooms into their deck anyways, and if they have a Pale Cascade, I have an Elixir of Iron, so... Why not both, though? I'm not a big fan of making changes just for the sake of making changes if they're not going to have a meaningful impact. And I think a lot of people, when they talk about term limits, are expecting implementing term limits to do something that they're not actually going to do in practice. I think a lot of people that talk about term limits expect them to just be this big band-aid that fixes everything, and that really just isn't realistic. Maybe I'm supposed to save this to not try and not get combo killed. But honestly, even if I Frostbite Elisa next turn, I can still get comboed. Yeah, there's things like gerrymandering. There's things like, you know, bills getting to sit and die. Like, for example, I think there's something a lot of Americans don't know. While the Republicans have had control of the Senate, people, my regulars will know this. The party that controls the Senate gets to dictate what gets voted on the Senate floor. And Mitch McConnell, who's in charge of the Republican Party in the Senate, has basically just said bills don't get voted on because he's allowed to do that under the current system. And the reason why he just kills all of the bills like that is because senators who are Republicans in close states, not voting is better for them voting down legislation. And yeah, I mean, but he's doing it for political gain for the party, right? Their entire party is okay with that because they all stand to gain politically from it happening. I think I do this and level the Teemo just to put a bunch of puff caps in their deck.
Ooh, quite a collection.
Yes, that's exactly right. McConnell is a shield for politicians that don't want to go on the record voting no to something. All right, they're at 8. They've got 36 puff caps, so we're at approximately 1.5 damage per card drawn here. Sevi, thanks for the follow. Good afternoon. 1.5 damage per card drawn. Nothing. All right. If we could keep dodging Lisa in here, we could dodge ball. Please die. Please die. They really just draw 3 cards and only draw 2 puff caps. The good news here is they're not dying this turn. So we're not dying this turn, so I get to do this. Huh? I think we aftershock that, right? Before they can Zenith Blade it. Okay, nailed it. Yeah, correct, Sepia. Agree with that.
Breathe in, breathe out.
Put on me mask, secure me tail, start the day.
Face me.
Excuse you.
Block like this to play around Pale Cascade, right? Yeah, this attack seems loose from the opponent. Throwing this away so they don't have a life linker next turn's a big deal. I think they're in a bad spot regardless here.
More for my collection.
This would be a good win.
I think even if the opponent played optimally here, we're still a pretty strong favorite to win. But it would have been closer for sure if they had been a little bit more conservative. Although they're at 2 now. Yeah, I'm glad we played 2. I think this deck has an okay Lee Sin matchup. Great Bone Daddy, thanks for the 24 months. Welcome back. Yeah, two turn reps is not nearly long enough. I think if you decided you needed term limits, a decade would be the minimum term limit that I would put down. I think you need people to be able to get in there and know what they're doing and teach new people what to do and how the basics work.
Never underestimate the power
Tiago
of
Stat, thanks for the follow. Welcome. I mean, to be fair, we only won that game because my opponent didn't have Lee Sin on 7. If my opponent had Lee Sin on 7, their Zenith Blade and their gems would have combo killed us, and I wouldn't have had any counterplay. Is a thing worth noting there. So, like, we did win that, but we won it for a pretty specific reason. Honestly, I'm gonna full mulligan looking for Teemos and Aftershocks. Afternoon Witch, thanks for the follow. Yeah, I would say, if anything, people talking about term limits without addressing the money issue in politics, if you create term limits and force people out of being congressional representatives very quickly, they just do the spinning door into being a lobbyist, right? So honestly, if you simply enact term limits without doing anything else, you could actually have the opposite impact that you're trying to have and make things worse for yourself and everyone. It's one of those, one of the many, you know, nuance and details matters type things. I think I go ahead and just Mystic Shot this now. Yes, that's true too. Lobbyists have more power if term limits are short, is exactly correct as well. How does Lee Sin one turn kill? So they give Lee Sin Overwhelm, and if Lee Sin's leveled mode casts Dragon's Rage and he kicks the blocker out of the way in front of him, and if he kicks the blocker, he then overwhelms for the full amount of damage. So if you get overwhelmed leveled Lee Sin with 10 attack, they can do 20 damage in a single attack with just Lee Sin. And you have to have something like Hush or a Frostbite to have counterplay. And I know when I say it like that, it sounds like a lot has to go right for that to happen, but their deck is very consistent because it draws a lot of cards. In fact, finding Lee Sin is probably the least consistent thing about their archetype. Chant is so good. Yeah, I think at some point when I'm done streaming on Twitch, maybe even when I'm not done streaming on Twitch, but when my kids are a little bit older, maybe junior high or high school, I would like to run for a local or national office. Probably start with something local. I don't know. It's hard for me to get into local politics in my area because I live in a very red area. I guess that's not strictly true. Bloomington's bluish.
We'll follow you to the edge of daybreak.
I'm supposed to mushroom right away. I kind of want to wait and see if I draw another spells payoff here. Did not. The Fizz Zoe deck helped carry me to Prime Glory yesterday. Congrats, Bunko. I like that deck's great. One's definitely one of my favorite Zoe decks.
We will not suffer unbelievers.
They will not escape punishment.
Get these ballistic bots down before we play these so we can pump them.
Shining gifts from the sky.
Once I stamp papers, now faces.
Burn away doubt.
Nobody votes Libertarian. Most people don't vote Libertarian because they're not idiots.
So ordinary.
If you wanna enact actual change under the current two-party system that the United States has, you do so by doing something like the Justice Democrats and primarying sitting incumbents, not by running on a third-party ticket that doesn't actually win national offices with any amount of consistency or ever. As someone who voted for Gary Johnson in 2016, libertarians tend to be the people that they've half thought about things but haven't come to the full conclusion of realizing how the world actually works. The best way I can describe libertarianism is being a libertarian sounds great until it's your house that's on fire, and then suddenly you wish somebody would do something.
System upgrade.
Like, ideologically, what libertarians claim to stand for sounds great until you realize how the world works and how people actually behave, and then you realize it's incredibly impractical and doesn't work out at all how you thought you wanted it to.
Carved from the savage gold.
Every time I talk, every libertarian I talk to, everybody boils down to I don't want to pay taxes. Yeah, most of the time.
The power of the immortal.
But that's largely been my experience too.
The sun's splendor revealed.
I don't think I want to play Teemo this turn. The question is, do I want to play Puff Caps or do I want to poke them with an Ignition? I guess I already did a damage to them. There's merit in playing the Ignition so I can play the Mushroom Cloud at burst speed next turn to pump these up. Getting more Puff Caps in their deck means that this is more likely, but this is still pretty far away from leveling, right? I think I'm just going to Ignition here.
Safety disengaged. Rise, metal brethren. Primed and ready.
Overdrawing here because I have both of these in play is not great. If we have the opportunity to trade one of these off in combat this turn, we're probably going to take it. They are at we're at 3 out of 5 on Sejanni now. I've got backup Sejanni in the tank. We're not in danger of dying, I don't think, with the harsh winds and the healer.
Glorious light rains down.
Welcome to the tipsy hour.
So the ignition generators actually happen. I believe that what's actually happening there is they're occurring before before the what's it called part, before our card draw for the turn. I think is what's actually happening there. The very literal sense, taxes are theft. Yeah, I'm not interested in your pedantic literal sense here. Like, arguing points from the literal sense as opposed to the way we actually use language in the day-to-day is nonsense. So yeah, like, push your glasses up, card game player, and tell me actually that's not what that means. But like, at the end of the day, like, it isn't talking about a card game. It's talking about people's ability to like live and exist. So like, yeah, I don't know, roads. So when I'm driving on the road, am I stealing then? That's what you're telling me then. If you want to go to illogical extremes.
Perfection.
So I think the plan here this turn is we want to ignition to get this to 3 out of 5. That's an Asol. If we could dodge a single combat, we can dodge a ball, I think is the hope here.
Your favorite star. I created it.
So I want to get Sejanni a point towards leveling this turn.
Hey, take it to the gun show. Safety disengaged.
Oh, I have Teemo here still too. I guess I could technically hush Teemo, but I think I gotta get in with him here.
And ready.
Blessed by snow and stars.
All right, I appreciate we've talked about politics for like half an hour here, and nobody's been too irate or awful. I appreciate you, Hoaglandia. Let's move along off the topic now. And remember, if you want a place to talk about politics and all other sorts of things with Hoaglandia 24/7, the Discord server is a great place to do that.
Push on without me.
Yeah, I don't think the conversation was bad at all. I think it's been long.
Constellation bow to
Vanny Steckison, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Come on. Oh, I have ignition to wipe attack off of things here. Okay, so Johnny's leveling.
The winter's claw endures.
Yeah, I'm gonna do one more after this, Dr. Mr. Punny. Win or lose, this is our last game with this one. Oh, the second mushroom triggered it. That's so perfect.
Enough stalling.
Perfect.
Burn off forever.
You played a Leona Asol deck yet since Grand Plaza? It seems really solid right now. By the numbers, this archetype actually hasn't been performing all that well. I'm also not a big fan of these huge greedy decks. How often are there balance changes in Runeterra? Usually we see balance changes every 2 to 4 weeks. Currently we're on the longer side of that window because of the holiday season. This deck works very consistently. Like, my opponent's got a leveled Asol, and we're not just dead, is like all you need to know about this current game that we're playing, which is honestly just super impressive.
Blessed by snow and stars.
Is Hexcore Boundary rare? It is. Yeah, we're still in this game. In it to win it, chat. Aren't all landmarks yours? They are not. A lot of them are epics, actually. Yeah, Hexcore Foundry is the only rare landmark.
more courage than brawn, I'm afraid.
I mean, I think I'm just passing again here, right? They're definitely gonna attack. That is a Sajani in hand. We are not playing copies of Fury of the North.
Bask in her radiant blessing. Bask in the light's radiance.
Quite the stunning turn for our opponent here. Well, the ignition doesn't do anything. So Johnny's already frostbitten their board for the turn. She can't do it again. So all these things that they're playing out that are going to have attack.
Her light is our sword, the warmth our armor.
Glorious light rains down.
This is really scary because they have leveled Asol.
Journey is a discovery.
We could be dead here. I don't think I had the option to use Harsh Winds on Asol to keep Asol from leveling. At least I would have had to not do a bunch of other stuff, and I think that would have been worse. I don't think I would have been able to level this to Johnny. I'm not dead yet.
System upgrade. Rise, metal brethren.
So we can Aftershock, Chump Wump, put 2 mushrooms into their deck, or put 10 mushrooms into their deck. I could also Chump Wump, put mushrooms into their deck, Ignition, Hex Core. Depending on how they block Sejani, Fury of the North might be worthwhile here.
Warning, take you.
I will protect you.
So this is a deal 3. The problem is it's not a deal 3 if they have Hush. I think I'm just supposed to click OK because of Hush. Jazav, thanks for the 7 months Supreme. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Good afternoon. I think I just click OK and we hope to kill them with mushrooms next turn. I think the plan here is Aftershock their dome and then hope to high roll. I guess they also have to deal with this too, which is relevant. Okay. Okay, so with that play, we do this, right?
Bow to no one.
D1ZZ, thanks for the follow. Good afternoon. So, do I Aftershock them? Do I play this to put more I can't put more mushrooms down. Honestly, I wonder if we just Hexcore Foundry here. Yeah, I think we Foundry and Ignition. I guess I can play this as a blocker too. And I think I want to Ignition because I'm not going to get another one. This gives us more options to draw 2. Gives us a better chance to see like Harsh Winds next turn. Oh, right, this is second Sejani. She hadn't hit yet. It's actually pretty unfortunate. We did not hit a ton there. We'll see if they're able to kill us through what we have.
Daylight breaks on the back.
Living Legends actually doesn't generate that much stuff for them.
Sunlight blinds.
Welcome to the tipsy hour.
Parade ZJ, thanks for the follow. And they don't have the It's Always Day card out anymore, so they can't stun a bunch of our stuff. GG, we're not dead yet.
The mountain knows.
I mean, oh yeah, if they hit an elusive, they can hook my Teemo, right? So we gotta dodge that on the random.
This will be a good winter.
This play means I'm not dead on board. Dead to a lot, but not dead on board. So, dead to a stiff breeze here. Just basically any threat kills us. They need 2 points of attack. I gotta imagine they have. We're out of resources. There's a slog back and forth. If we had high rolled on our mushrooms a little bit more, maybe we could have done it. I don't know. I don't know that we necessarily low rolled that much. We didn't have that many here. What round is this? I have no idea. Super far into it.
Clad in shining sunlight. Glorious light rains down.
Richard, thanks for the follow. What round is this? The last one? Accurate. This one's pretty sweet. I continue to be pretty happy with this deck. I know we're ending on a loss with that last match, but I think overall this deck is super reasonable. Like I mentioned, the opener, Ballistic Bot was a big power level upgrade, kind of tying all of our synergies together. Aftershocks, a super reasonable, flexible card in general. Sejani's really sweet at locking people out of the game with your conjunction of mushrooms and direct damage. So yeah, if you're looking for a neat mid-range deck, like I mentioned earlier, this was one of the decks in my top 5, not top 6, typing is hard, in my top 5 Cosmic Creations deck video that I posted up on my highlights channel earlier this week. At any rate, though, I don't think we're going to wrap up. We're over 700 people here still, which is awesome. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out this afternoon. So let's find one more Runeterra deck to play.